Polar bears will struggle to give birth to cubs and will no longer roam many of the Arctic regions that they inhabit if global warming increases. This is according to scientists from the Norwegian Polar Institute. Our next report telling you more.
In Norway, researchers who have spent years tracking the bears experienced a rare sighting of a female feeding her young. A scene they say could become a thing of the past if ice sheets keep receding. The researchers from the Norwegian Polar Institute come here every year to monitor the health and size of the polar bear population. The samples they've taken are being examined in detail back at the Institute's laboratory. A female bear must be in good health to bear cubs. They spend months in a den in the sea ice. She must be well fed to sustain herself and provide sufficient milk to her young. This 11-year-old female weighs approximately 144 kilograms. Her cubs are around just 7.5 kilograms. This year, the biologists say the initial results appear to show the bears are in good health, and the ice sheet on which they depend on appears to be in better shape than in recent years.
The temperature of the water in the sea is in general higher than it used to be, and that doesn't change, that much from year to year. So in parts of the area we work, like on the west coast of Svalbard, you very rarely see all the fjords freezing again as they used to do some decades ago.
But now there are fewer months of ice than there would have been 30 or 40 years ago. Polar bears rely heavily on sea ice for traveling and hunting. They travel to the relatively shallow waters because there is more food there. Biologists say retreating sea ice means less food for the bears in the future.
What we think is that in the future, if you get less and less sea ice and more bears at some stage, they will start struggling and you get fewer bears again. But we may not be there yet.
If the bears are forced farther north, it also means they have to exert more energy to get to their hunting grounds and their food, to feed themselves and their cubs. At the moment, approximately 3,000 bears are in good condition. It's estimated the global population is around 26,000.
So Western Hudson Bay is clearly one of the early ones that will be tipping over, and we can expect that as sea ice is forming later in the fall and melting earlier in the summer, that these are going to be among the first populations to be affected, that we will see actually polar bears disappearing from.
Bears are surviving at the moment, but if they are forced to retreat to the far north, their future will not be secure. Scientists say while adults are better equipped to survive, the outlook for future generations of cubs like this one remains uncertain. Bureau Report, WION, Wild is One.
WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.